Skyrim is a loved and cherished game by all those who have ever played it. There are many weapons, armor, enchantments, and magic, giving the player many ways to play the game. Many players use swords, bows, and magic to deal damage to their opposing foes. But in this challenge, I won't be doing any of that and find out, can you beat Skyrim with only using a pickaxe? I'll wake up from a nap, dreaming about my next Fallout challenge. I choose the Orc race for their strength in melee, and the Berserker race will come in handy here and there. Just before I could be sent to Jesus, a dragon showed up and ruined my happy ending. During my escape, I got a little toasty and went through the keep with Hadvar. I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher these names. I had some armor for protection and let Hadvar clear out the enemies inside while I sat back. After hastily making my way through the cave, I finally escaped Helgen. I made sure to activate survival mode so no fast travel, can only level up through sleep, as well as needing to eat and stay warm. Traveling to Riverwood, I had a wolf nibble on my butt the whole way there. The blacksmith had a pickaxe, but I didn't have any gold at the time to buy it. When I did, he was no longer open to sell anything apparently, so I had to unfortunately make my way to Whiterun unarmed. I witnessed a really tall farmer get harassed by a bunch of smaller farmers. Arriving at Whiterun, I purchased a pickaxe to finally arm myself. I met the Jarl of Whiterun and warned of the dangerous dragon in Helgen. A sorcerer tells me of a stone I need in an ancient ruined temple. On my way there, however, nothing was stopping me from robbing the hard work of farmers. I found a horse to shorten my travel time, then found myself climbing a mountain on foot anyways. Inside the temple, I had to deal with various amount of bandits, with that bandit outlaw taking far more damage than I ever expected. Deeper inside, I ran into a frost spider and slowly whittled down its health. I finally succumbed to my wounds and died. Next attempt, I finally activate my Berserker rage for the first time. After hacking away at its health for what felt like an eternity, the hideous Arachnid was finally evicted from his existence. I did what the game told me and cut down the bandit and take the golden claw. Going further and taking out the joggers and watching our jogger get slapped to next Tuesday by a trap, it's here I decided to allow him healing magic, because as long as it's not dealing any damage to enemies, it could technically be allowed unless it comes to a challenge that strictly forbids it. I met the Draugr Overlord. I smacked him around while he was trying to get up, but he still proved more than enough for me on my first attempt. But fortunately on my second attempt, I finally bested him with my superior picking of my pickaxe. On my way back to Whiterun, I ran into an elderly woman. Unlocking her cellar door, she must have been upset, because the next thing I know, I found myself beating an elderly woman. Returning to Whiterun, I bought another pickaxe, because if I know anything, 2 is better than 1. Robbed even more farmers of their hard work, and to deliver the Dragonstone to the sorcerer. We get word of a dragon attack happening nearby. Making our way there to witness the damage left by the attack, I finally get some sleep, finally leveling up. During the fight with the dragon, I gave a couple slaps, watched the dragon absolutely cook one of the soldiers, and eventually we finally take out the dragon and absorbed his soul. I reported back to the Jarl and was sent to meet the Greybeards. Getting killed by a saber-tooth on the way there, and suffering a long and cold journey to the Greybeards, I made it to their front door. The Greybeards were kind enough to leave gifts for me once I reached the top though. While sitting in the fire to warm up, I made a powerful shout from the pain. I went outside and learned a shout to get up and personal to Wolfgar, and then was on my way back down the mountain, finding a place to sleep and level up, and explore another ruined temple. Inside the ruin, I found myself facing a couple of necromancers that proved to be a handful more than once. The room was pretty much just full of Draugr and necromancers, but falling back here and there to heal, nothing was too hard to take down. I used Ashaut to make past puzzle gaze, watched the spider get cooked, and found out someone had already beaten me to the horn. Once outside, I met a strange dead bandit. Making my way to meet the mysterious person, I was getting a little too cold and decided to rent a room to warm up, sleep, and level up once more. Continuing my journey, I took out some frost spiders, and during even more freezing cold, eliminated a pack of hungry wolves. After meeting up with the person that took my horn and requested my help killing a dragon, I get distracted listening to some music, shopping, and sleeping to level up once more. Using a carriage to make my travel time just a tad bit faster, I went straight to work on Mr. Skelly here. It wasn't a walk in the park, in fact he nearly killed me, but after defeating the dragon and proving I was dragonborn, I used a carriage to Whiterun and made my way to Riverwood to discuss our next plan. Arriving at Solitude, I witnessed an execution and looked away last second to upset all you guys watching. Inside the Thalmor party, I caused a locomotion in the lobby to sneak up back to grab my gear and the info on Esbern's location. Unfortunately, I must have forgotten to press record because I had no footage of finding Esbern, so I'll just give a short gist of it. He was located in the Riften sewers. I had to deal with thugs and Thalmor soldiers, but once I finally found him, he told me of a temple that has clues to defeating Alduin, which is where I'm heading now. Inside the temple, I took care of a few Forsworn, used my blood to open a passage, had Esbern read the carvings, then made a long and painful journey back to the Greybeards. I tried to see if I was strong enough to take down a troll. I was not. Making it to the Greybeard's front door, I had a bunch of old men shout at me and talk to this guy about the Elder Scroll. I eventually made it to the university and spoke with the fellow orc about finding the whereabouts of the Elder Scroll. Outside, on the bridge, I had the blood of Kratos coursing through my veins. On my way to the cave, I was just about there before dying to the cold. Once inside the cave though, I spoke to the Greybeard and he gave me the location of the Dwarven temple that has the Elder Scroll. Trying to make my way back was an absolute pain, however. I died to wolves and the cold more times than I could possibly count. Inside the temple, I fell victim to a trap. I used a shout to be able to go from the top to the bottom floor without any issues, which turned out to bite me later on because I had enemies following me through the door and killed me numerous of times because I had not the healing nor the health to defeat them. Escaping them and admiring the mushroom cave that was oddly beautiful to look at, I finally managed to get my hands on the Elder Scroll. I made my way to Whiterun to sell some items and buy some food for the long road. I'm going to say it now, having to go up this mountain so many times and it taking it as long as it does really did suck the life right out of my goddamn soul. I reached the top of the mountain to use the Elder Scroll to find out any weaknesses. I watched an old man get absolutely fried, then died to freeze damage somehow. Watching an old man get fried once more, the battle against Alduin finally begins. Since half my health was already gone due to being cold and losing more max health as the fight continued, he did best me more than a few times. At one point, I must have defeated Alduin just as he became a force user. Kind of made me laugh seeing him talk to my corpse flying off screen, but that fun was short-lived because I found myself frozen and had to reset the game. Loading back in, I finally managed to defeat Alduin, then I had a interesting conversation with
Lot Congrach. You truly have the voice.
Racing down the mountain to avoid freezing to death, I made it to the campfire to finally warm up. Arriving back at Whiterun to try and capture a dragon, I was told he would only help me if I can convince a temporary truce between the Imperium and Stormcloaks. But to do that, I had another walk up this damn mountain again. I was told to convince the two generals to a peace conference, so making my way down once more, which was still as painful as all the other times I had to go up and down this same mountain, I used a carriage in Whiterun to travel to Solitude. I spoke to General Tullius and then traveled to Windhelm to speak to Ulfric. Making it up this godforsaken mountain once more, I sat through a boring meeting about peace and stuff. With all that time officially wasted for a temporary truce, it was time to finally capture the dragon. Using a shout to call the dragon, then another shout to bring it down, I activated my Berserker race to ensure as much damage as possible, and it turned out that was more than enough for him. Once it was captured, it gave me a pleasant ride to my next destination. While there, I took out some joggers and a dragon that fucked around and found out with a pickaxe to the face. Inside, I solved some gate puzzles, killed even more joggers, and had to take out another dragon that didn't seem to get the message that pickaxes to the face are no joke. I ran into a priest and immediately tried taking him down to realize that this one is going to be a lot harder than I thought. After killing me Over a dozen times, he fell off the temple, taking an insane amount of fall damage, lured him just enough for me to take him out and take his staff. Using his staff to open the portal, I pushed through the thick fog, best soon in battle, and spoke to the people I needed to have the final battle against Alduin. Since you have plenty of people helping you take him down, his final battle was no sweat. But even though Alduin was defeated, there was still one last thing that needed to be done to finally bring peace to Skyrim. I traveled to Solitude to speak to General Tullius about helping the Imperial wipe out the Stormcloaks, but first they needed me to prove myself against some bandits because I guess saving Skyrim from a powerful dragon wasn't enough apparently. Should be no surprise that it wasn't too difficult taking out the bandits, though the ones using bows were just rather annoying. Taking out the final bandit, I got some sleep, leveling up, and had a long journey back to Solitude for my next mission. I met up with Hadvar at the ruined temple. We took care of the Stormcloaks at the entrance and took out even more deeper inside the temple. Eventually, we met the Draugr that has something of mine, that of which I want. After taking him down and claiming his crown, I reported back to Tullius to help with Whiterun. I traveled to Whiterun to speak to the Jarl about the Stormcloaks, and he sent me away to Windhelm to deliver a message in the shape of an axe. Traveling back to Whiterun to report the response, and hearing a motivational speech, it was now time to defend Whiterun against the Stormcloaks. Slowly taking care of all the soldiers trying to cause Whiterun bodily harm, I traveled back to Solitude and reported back to Tullius. I was off yet again and got some well-deserved sleep. On my way to the Legion camp, I came across a dragon running a cookout. He tried inviting me, but I kindly rejected his offer. Arriving at the camp, I was told of a Stormcloak courier delivering personal intel. Traveling and warming up at a local inn, I got info on where to find him. But on my way to confront him, I of course was stopped by yet another dragon. For catching up to him, I immediately murdered him in front of God and everyone to witness. I report to the legate, who then forges the intel and then has me deliver them to the Stormcloaks. While trying to deliver the intel, wouldn't you guess it, another goddamn dragon. Officially tired of their shit, I bring him down and send him back to the depth of hell from which he came and finally delivered the forged intel. After reporting back to the legate, I was then sent to clear out a Stormcloak fort. I won't lie, it was going very well at first, till it wasn't, and I got my face bashed in by a shield. Running that shit back, however, I cleared the fort, no problem. On my way back to the camp, I got some more sleep, leveling up, and reported a job well done. On my way to the camp, I brought a spider over that they apparently weren't very fond of, and ordered by the legate to capture another fort and free the soldiers being held prisoner. Sneaking into the prison and freeing all those soldiers behind bars, we took the fight outside and took Imperial control over the fort. I got to enjoy the view of Windhelm from the top of a mountain, used the carriage there to travel to Solitude, and receive my new orders from Tullius. Being sent to clear out another Stormcloak fort, it was no different from me taking control of any other fort. I pretty much, from this point on, was just sent to different forts to clear them out, and the only thing interesting that happened during that time was the group of Forsworn that was oddly friendly and running into another dragon I didn't want to deal with because I've already killed so many of them at this point, but this one really wanted to die because this dragon, I kid you not, he pursued me for 6 whole minutes straight. That doesn't sound long, but 6 minutes of a dragon constantly hitting you with freeze, draining your health and stamina, it got old very quickly. Which is why I relished draining the life out of his body like he drained my will to continue living. Finally bringing the final fight to Windhelm, the general gave one of his long and boring speeches, and we pushed through the Stormcloak defenses with the help of Imperial soldiers. Arriving inside, we finally confronted Ulfric. We instantly took out his right-hand man, and we were sent across the room right after. I took the honors of executing Ulfric and finally bring peace to Skyrim. I'm sorry this video was really late. I've been incredibly busy as of late, but I did at least find the time to add a couple highlights to my shorts recently to hopefully keep you guys a little entertained till the video was finally released. That'll do it for this challenge video. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. If you guys have any ideas for a challenge in the future, leave them in the comments. I'll try to upload every week or every other week, and hope to see you all in the next video.